and other things. But you tell me one thing, India is a very diverse country. There's so many communities, castes, religious traditions, tribes. They have their thousands of years of history of evolution, the social system, the cultural norms. Why should they surrender their rights to the modern secular republic which came into existence in 1947?
First of all, thank you very much to Abhinav and the organizers. This really is a very large panel and reminds me of the 8 p.m. debates. Although Arnab has gained a lot of weight since I saw him last.
You have 60 seconds now.
But I must also say this at the outset, Abhinav, that I am really proud to be Indian, proud to be one amongst you, because sitting next to me is a gentleman who is so safe and sound. He is, ये बाहर घूम रहे हैं, जो कहना चाहते हैं वो कह सकते हैं. एक साल पहले ये जिसके साथ डिबेट में थे वो बेचारी घर के अंदर है. ये वो देश है. तो जो लॉज बनाते हैं, जो इस देश को प्रोटेस्ट करते हैं, जिस देश पे डेमोक्रेसी नहीं है, वो ये याद रखें कि रहमानी साहब इज सेफ एंड साउंड एंड ही इज हियर विद मी. Remember that, always. Don't forget that. All those who think that this is not a democracy, remember that. That there is a woman, poor woman, all she did was just quoted some scriptures and her life has been ruined. Number one. Number two, it's very important to state, Abhinav, just to...
Let's not interrupt each other. Rahmani Saab, let's not interrupt each other.
No,
let's focus on the topic. Let's focus on the topic.
This is like tarnishing my image on the basis of a falsehood.
Let's
why I'm
Anandji, let's focus on the topic itself. Let's not make personal remarks.
To the topic.
Let's not make personal remarks, Anandji. Let's focus on the topic.
It was not a personal remark. I was proud to be Indian. How is that personal? Yes. I am proud that you are safe. How is that personal? We all are safe. Absolutely.
Let's refocus on the topic.
Yes. और tarnish तो image तब होगी ना जब image होगी. But let me. नहीं, Rahmani साहब.
Sir, if this is the way of this debate at the outset, targeting a personality, then I have so many things to say for so many people. But I don't want to continue with that. I can leave this debate if you have to insult me over here.
I'm not insulting
this is like
anyone.
Insulting.
Anandji,
did I insult anyone?
Anandji, Anand Ranganathan.
You are insulting me.
Let's come to
spreading falsehood about me.
Let's come to the topic,
You are
Anand.
spreading rumors against me, and you are trying to demonize my personality this way, and I object to it.
Anandji, let's only focus on the topic, please.
आपका objection sir आँखों पर, as long as my head is satisfactorily attached to my torso. Now, I want to come. No, let's be done with it. Rahmani साहब, please सुनिए अब आप. ये. Okay.
Anandji, please.
So, as far as UCC is concerned, I just want to say two things. You are right as to say why should communities suffer for the greater good. For that, Abhinav, I have to say this, that there are some universal goods, right? There are some things that are good, proven scientifically or otherwise philosophically, that are good universally. And one universal good that we have imbibed from our civilization, Hindu civilization, Indian Bharatiya civilization, is the equality of man and woman. There are so many. And there are societies that have rules that sometimes do not conform to those universal goods. For example, it is scientifically proven that you will severely damage the body of a woman if you marry her upon puberty. This is scientifically proven. So to say that if you were to remove that, if you were to ban child marriage, you would make a society suffer. I'm sorry. You are reforming that society. You are going towards progressiveness. You are going towards what is scientifically proven to be correct. So we must remove discrimination like that. We must remove polygamy. We must remove child marriage. We must remove the fact that in some religions, it is ordained that a woman would get half the inheritance that a man would. How is this justified? So I am absolutely for removing things that are patently wrong. They are anti-woman, they are discriminatory, they are patriarchal, and I am for adding things that go for the universal good. And that is why we need uniform civil code. Thank you.
Thank you, Anand, and I request my panelists that let's focus only on the topic and we should avoid unwanted comments on each other going forward. Sarah, let me come to you. When we talk about a uniform civil code, often it becomes a debate about Muslims and the Hindus. But beyond this Hindu-Muslim binary, there's lots of diversity in the country. There are different tribal communities, there are different regional cultural variations. So do you agree that a modern state should override their cultural concerns and social concerns and create a uniform law?
So firstly, good evening. Thank you so much, Arth and Vikram Sampath for having me over for such a pertinent discussion. So the topic today is UCC and whether I am for it or not. So my previous panel speaker said that he's ambiguous on the topic and he's neutral on the topic. I would say the same. We are not against it and we are not for it. Because here, when you're talking about personal laws, I think talking whether a 15% is bothered or whether a 10% of the population is bothered or whether 5% of the population is bothered is not the contention. The contention here is the majority community, which comprises of 80% of the population. Are they okay with tweaking their laws? Are they okay with tweaking their personal laws? Because here, if you look at the Constitution of India, it is said that the state the UCC is not enforceable, however, it is recommended. So here, let's look at the sale of alcohol, right? So it says that the alcohol consumption would not be encouraged, or usage of drugs, or consumption of any intoxicant. But we see that alcohol is readily available across India. So isn't it available? Because here the state very clearly says that consumption of alcohol, cigarette smoking should be avoided. But we see the sale of alcohol, cigarettes. So I think here we need to look at the larger picture because here it is not that the Muslim community is getting affected, the Muslim community is not getting affected. Firstly, we need to know whether the larger Hindu majority community is okay with tweaking the Hindu Succession Act, the adoption issue, the marriage issue, and there's so many other bindings that come in the Hindu personal law that governs various aspects of the life. So I think here this document needs to be discussed with the various stakeholders of the different communities, and we need to ask them whether they are okay with tweaking their personal laws. Then it comes to the Muslim community, then we can ask them whether they are all right or not. Because here, the UCC has been under the directive principles of state policy, and it very clearly says it is not enforceable, it is recommended. So I think I would go by it. We are not against it. It can be recommended, but I iterate that we need to take all the various stakeholders of all the communities in account, make a formidable document, and see whether it is enforceable or not, because India is too diverse a country, so many religions, so many borders. If you see, the British, I would say, were rather lazy. It would have been implemented long time ago, but the British didn't want to unsettle the apple cart. It was such a complex issue. So they let it be in the directive principle of state policy, and they said, let it not be a mandate. Let it evolve. Let the document evolve. Let it kind of get justifiable. And once it is justifiable, then we can implement and make it a law. So it still remains in the directive principle of state policy. And I think it needs to be debated. It needs to be discussed. We need to take everyone into account. That's what I want to say at this moment.
I'll come back to you, Sai, Anand, and everyone. Let's first have the opening remarks by all the panelists. Vishnu Shankarji. She made a very important point that this is a very complex project. This is not a very simple thing of just creating a draft about the civil laws and the social laws. What's your stand on the Uniform Civil Code?
आप सभी को मेरा नमस्कार. धर्म संस्थापना के देवता भगवान श्री कृष्ण के चरणों में मेरा नमन. And I would like to thank Vikram Sampath ji and Arth for organizing such a beautiful event and for creating such a panel so that we can have diverse views. First of all, I would like to say that as a right-wing Hindu intellectual, I do not believe, and I strongly am saying this, I do not believe in the concept of uniform civil code. Uniform civil code is completely a hoax, and I'm today telling it on your panel that if uniform civil code is implemented, many of the provisions of uniform civil code will go against the majority community, as my friend Sai Deepak has told. And I would also like to tell you that in 2018, the Law Commission had returned the proposal of Uniform Civil Code because we do not know, as Sai Deepak has rightly told, the areas on which there has to be uniformity. First of all, we have to understand that when we are talking about Uniform Civil Code, we must ask ourselves this question, that what are the subjects on which we are asking for uniformity? And through my study and research, and as far as my knowledge goes, I personally believe and feel that there is one area where I, as a citizen of this country, need uniformity. And let me put it in perspective. And I want to ask a question to all of you, that आपने क्या किसी देश में ऐसा कानून देखा है कि अगर कोई ऑफेंस कोई आदमी करे तो वो एक धर्म के लिए ऑफेंस होगा, दूसरे धर्म के लिए ऑफेंस नहीं होगा? अगर क्रिमिनल लॉ का सबसे बेसिक सिद्धांत है कि क्रिमिनल लॉ सबके लिए यूनिफॉर्म होगा। मतलब अगर आज कोई आदमी चोरी करेगा तो अगर वो चोरी हिंदू करता है तो उसके लिए ऑफेंस है, क्रिश्चियन करता है, मुस्लिम करता है, कोई भी आदमी करता है, इररिस्पेक्टिव ऑफ हिज रिलीजन, वो ऑफेंस रहेगा। पर भारतीय आईपीसी में, इंडियन पीनल कोड में, देयर इज अ प्रोविजन, and please read it and correct me if I'm wrong, section 494 of the IPC. Section 494 of the IPC mein, if a Muslim is having more than one marriage, it's not an offense, it's exempted under section 494 IPC, while if a Hindu is marrying more than once, it's an offense under IPC. Bigamic offense hai. So I personally believe, and I filed a petition also in the Supreme Court, the 5 judges of the Supreme Court have issued notice in the matter, and I'm only saying that please bring uniformity in the penal laws. If bigamy is an offense, it has to be an offense for a Hindu also, it has to be an offense for a Muslim also, for a Christian also. You cannot have this kind of an exemption on the basis of religion. And apart from that, apart from this number of marriage, I do not see any area where I feel or believe that there has to be uniformity. I am not here to sort out और मेक दी थिंग्स ऑफ, मैं किसी और आदमी के घर को ठीक करने के लिए नहीं बैठा हूँ, मैं यहाँ पे अपने घर को ठीक करने बैठा हूँ। मैं चाहता हूँ कि मेरा सनातन धर्म जो अजर अमर है वो अजर अमर रहे, और उसमें जो डिफिकल्टीज हैं उसको मैं रिमूव करूँ, मैं उसके लिए यहाँ बैठा हूँ।
Fair point, Rahmani ji, what's your take on the entire concept of uniform civil code? Why do we see a section of Muslim intelligentsia opposing the concept of equal social laws for the women, irrespective of their religious identity?
See, the debate of Uniform Civil Code was concluded on 23rd November 1946 in the Constituent Assembly itself. And the ball was set into the court of the central government. For last 75 years, Article 44 says that it's the duty of the government to keep on endeavor to make a consensus on the Uniform Civil Code. More than a dozen times, various high courts and Supreme Court of India has directed the government of India to come out with a Uniform Civil Code. No government has replied. And very recently, this January 2023 itself, in the Supreme Court of India, our government has said that this is the prerogative of the legislation, and this is a very complex issue. We will take our own time, and judiciary has no right to interfere in therein. Law Commission in 2018, as by my brother Vishnu Jain, my brother, has said, my Indian brother, of course he is my brother. So the Law Commission has recommended that before considering any uniform civil code, you have to make the codification of each and every religion of the country. This was the recommendation in 2018 by the Law Commission of India, our statutory body of our government. Still, so this is not the issue of a public debate. The public debate is over in 1946 itself. Now this is the duty of the central government to come out with a legislation. Some state governments during the last election, particularly the BJP governments, in their manifestos they have mentioned that they will come out with a uniform civil code like in Uttarakhand, like so many other states, but they did not. So keeping on a debate in the public arena is another thing, and those legislative debates, bringing those debates inside the parliament and discussing those debates in the with the legislature is quite different. So I think this is not more than a political issue rather than a social issue. Every successive government made it a political, to score the political brownie points, and nothing concrete they did. And as far as me, as Indian Muslim, as a proud Indian Muslim, my stand is concerned, as a community person, I will say, what shall I oppose? पर किसकी मुखालफत करूं? मेरे सामने कोई ब्लूप्रिंट नहीं है. यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड का नक्शा क्या होगा, उसका स्वरूप क्या होगा, उसके प्रोविजंस क्या होंगे, ये मुझे मालूम नहीं. आनंद रघुनाथन कुछ भी कह सकते हैं, शहजाद पूनावाला जी कुछ भी कह सकते हैं.
So you are open to the idea of the uniform civil code?
Let the country see the blueprint of that uniform civil code. Let the country discuss it. Let the country debate it. अभी विष्णु जैन को भी पसंद नहीं है यूसीसी का आइडिया. अभी ऐसे बहुत सारे लोग हो सकते हैं जिसे अब जो प्रोविजंस आएंगे तभी तो विष्णु जैन भी कंसीडर करेंगे, मैं भी करूंगा, आनंद भी करेंगे, सबका एक कंसेंसस बनेगा, तब वो कोड आएगा. तो ये गवर्नमेंट की जिम्मेदारी है कि वो लेकर आए. हम डिमांड करते हैं, लाइए. शुक्रिया.
रामानी जी. शहजाद, दिस पॉइंट इज कमिंग अप अगेन एंड अगेन that कोई blueprint है ही नहीं, there is no blueprint, we don't know what we are talking about. I think this has become a scapegoat in this panel. Let's discuss the idea of the uniform civil code. Whether it is desirable or not desirable, do you support it or do you oppose it?
आज मुझे बड़ी खुशी है अभिनव जी कि इतने ओजस्वी वक्ता जो मुस्लिम पक्ष से अमूमन अपनी बात रखते, तस्लीम रहमानी ने ये स्पष्ट किया कि देखिए हमें कोई परेशानी नहीं है, हमने तो ब्लूप्रिंट देखा नहीं है. तो मुझे उम्मीद है कि अर्थ के इस चर्चा के बाद वो ऑल इंडिया मुस्लिम पर्सनल लॉ बोर्ड को जरूर फ़ोन करके पूछेंगे कि जब ब्लूप्रिंट आया नहीं, बच्चा पैदा हुआ नहीं, तो मुंडन करने क्यों बैठ गया आप? अब रुक जाइए.
मैं कर चुका हूं उनको फोन.
रहमानी जी, जो रूल का आप अभी हवाला आनंद रंगनाथन को दे रहे थे वही रूल आप ब्रेक कर रहे हैं. यही यूनिफॉर्मिटी नहीं है डिबेट कोड में. ये सिविल कोड कहां मानेंगे? ये डिबेट कोड में यूनिफॉर्मिटी नहीं मानते. अब देखिए, ये मंडली बड़ी विचित्र मंडली. अब मैं किसी का नाम नहीं ले रहा हूं. आपको हो सकता है आप कहें कि पहले ड्राफ्ट तो लाओ, शहजाद जी ड्राफ्ट बताओ, फिर हम बताएं. एनआरसी का ड्राफ्ट देखा था क्या सड़कों पे उतरने से पहले? ड्राफ्ट देखा नहीं, पर बड़ी बड़ी एक्ट्रेसेस, बड़े बड़े वक्ता, बड़े बड़े बुद्धिजीवी, ये एनआरसी आएगा, ये ऐसा होगा, ये वैसा होगा, दंगे कर दो, शाहीन बाग में बैठ जाओ, ये सब थे. अब रुक जाइए. तस्लीम रहमानी मुस्कुरा रही है, अच्छी बात, लोकतंत्र के लिए अच्छी बात. और जय साई दीपक भी मुस्कुरा रहे, ये यूनिफॉर्म लाफ्टर कोड है. अब दूसरी बात देखिए, कम से कम एक चीज देखिए, यहां पर भी हमारे विष्णु भाई है, जय साई दीपक है, तस्लीम जी है, सहरा जी है, दोनों ने, सबने कहा कि हम बिना देखे नहीं बोलेंगे. परंतु एक हिपोक्रेसी जानना बहुत जरूरी है. जय साई दीपक और विष्णु जैन उस विचारधारा के हैं जो अपनी कन्वीनियंस के हिसाब से संविधान का गला घोटकर उसके शरिया को संविधान के ऊपर नहीं रखते. जब पसंद आए मन में तो संविधान, जब पसंद आए मन में तो शरिया. ये संविधान के तहत सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने ही शाहबानू का फैसला सुनाया था ना. आज पूछिए इनसे, शाहबानू से लेकर शायरा बानू तक जो 3 तलाक का फैसला है सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने दिया है, क्या मानने को तैयार है ये लोग? क्या मानने को तैयार है? 3 तलाक का भी वो ये विरोध करते हैं, नहीं मानेंगे. सुप्रीम कोर्ट कहे तो कहे, ये कम्युनल एजेंडा है. जब सुप्रीम कोर्ट कहता है शाहबानू को मेंटेनेंस मिले, जब सुप्रीम कोर्ट कहता है 3 तलाक हो, उसको खत्म करे, कानून लाओ, तो ये लोग कहते हैं इट्स अ कम्युनल प्रोजेक्ट। और आखिरी बात, आपको नहीं चाहिए यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड, बहुत अच्छी बात है, ठीक है, आपने कह दिया। केवल 2 चीजें स्पष्ट कीजिए। अगर ये आपके धार्मिक अधिकारों का इतना ही बड़ा हनन है, इट इज सच अ असॉल्ट ऑन द राइट टू प्रैक्टिस योर रिलीजन अंडर आर्टिकल 25, then why you are not demanding every day and night that my criminal code should be according to Sharia, where you cut my hand if I'm caught robbing? Tomorrow morning I want Mr. Taslim Rahmani standing in line demanding कि now I don't want uniform criminal code also. If Ramesh and Anand are caught stealing, they will be given one punishment. If Taslim is caught stealing, his hand will be chopped off. Please, tomorrow morning you tell me, Taslim, are you ready for it? You are ready for it, okay.
और इसमें एक
सुन लीजिए
भाई, इसमें एक एग्जेम्पशन होना चाहिए।
हाँ, एग्जाम्शन क्या होना चाहिए?
एग्जेम्पशन ये होना चाहिए कि अगर जिहाद करेंगे तो वो शरिया में एग्जेम्प्ट हो जाएगा।
Vishnu ji, we will come back to it.
अच्छा, लास्ट पॉइंट, ये यूसीसी जो है, यूसीसी इसका वैसे तो फुल फॉर्म है यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड, बट इस यूसीसी के नाम पे एक बीबीसी है। यूसीसी के नाम पे बीबीसी ये है, बहकाना, भड़काना और चिल्लाना। अब देखिए, ये बहकाना, भड़काना, चिल्लाना कमिटी जो है, जब यूसीसी गोवा में लागू हुआ 1960 के दशक में, तब इनकी चहीती सरकार थी वहां पे, तब यूसीसी कम्युनल नहीं था, सेक्युलर था। जब यूसीसी के विषय में सुप्रीम कोर्ट से लेकर 10 कोर्टों ने कहा कि यूसीसी आना चाहिए, तब यूसीसी कम्युनल नहीं था, यूसीसी सेक्युलर था। जब नेहरू जी और बाकी सारे महानुभाव संविधान की सभा में बैठकर यूसीसी को डायरेक्टिव प्रिंसिपल ऑफ स्टेट पॉलिसी बनाए, तब यूसीसी कम्युनल नहीं था, वो सेक्युलर था। और आज जब हिमाचल, गुजरात या कोई उत्तराखंड का स्टेट अपनी जनता से पूछ के यूसीसी के लिए पैनल बनाए, तो हाय सांप्रदायिक माहौल फैल गया है, डर का माहौल है। ये किस प्रकार का ये बीबीसी चल रहा है? ये दोहरे मापदंड है। मैं भी देखिए, हमारी जिन भी सरकारों ने इसको इंप्लीमेंट किया, अभिनव जी, लास्ट 10 सेकेंड्स, 30 सेकेंड्स, लास्ट 30 सेकेंड्स अर्नब, कि देखिए, हम यूसीसी के प्रति पूर्ण तरीके से समर्पित है, संविधान के एक एक प्रावधान के प्रति हम पूर्ण तरीके से समर्पित है। यह संविधान सहूलियत का डॉक्यूमेंट नहीं है कि यह पसंद आए तो ले लो, वो पसंद नहीं आए तो हटा दो। हम संविधान के प्रति समर्पित है, परंतु हां, उसकी एक प्रक्रिया होनी चाहिए। जो जय साई दीपक और विष्णु जैन ने आर्टिकुलेट की है, वो सारी बहुत ही गंभीर विषयों पर चर्चा करने के हेतु ही, जहां पर भी हमारी राज्य सरकारों ने जनता के पास से मैंडेट लिया इस विषय पर, तो पहले पैनल और सर्व समाज के साथ उसके ऊपर चिंतन करके ड्राफ्ट लाने का काम किया जाएगा। अभी ड्राफ्ट आया नहीं है, जो बच्चा पैदा नहीं हुआ है, तस्लीम रहमानी, उसका मुंडन कराना बंद करो।
ठीक है शहजाद, only Anand gets 60 seconds, right? Only you all will get only 30 seconds. No, Lokesh is left. Lokesh, let's come back to you, and could you please give us a legal perspective of the entire debate? Because we are talking on the political aspect, we are talking on the emotional aspect of the UCC, the religious aspect, but what exactly is the legal aspect of the entire exercise?
Yes, good evening, everyone. There was a lot of discussion with respect to Article 44 of the Constitution. But if we read the exact wording of Article 44, it states that the state shall endeavor to secure for all its citizens a uniform civil code. Now compare that with Article 43 of the Constitution. The Article 43 of the Constitution says, with suitable legislation. So my point is, Article 44 of the Constitution does not direct the state that you have to bring about a suitable legislation so as to realize a uniform civil code. So the point is, if the state indeed wants to realize a uniform civil code all across the territory of India, then introducing a law is not a necessity. It's not the only way. Secondly, when you're talking about the constitutional framework, so over here, we all need to keep in mind the Minerva Mills case judgment, that there has to be a balance between the directive principle of state policy and the fundamental rights. There also has to be an understanding of the S.R. Bommai case, 1994, whereby secularism forms the basic structure of the Constitution. And while we consider Article 44, we also need to understand Article 25 till Article 28, Article 29, Article 30, with respect to equality, Article 14, 15, 16, and also the fundamental duty of promoting brotherhood amongst all its citizens, Article 15, 1A. Over here, it becomes important for us to understand that all these articles are aiming at preventing India from becoming a theocratic state. We have to make sure that India continues to function as a secular state. And if the primacy is to preserve the secular fabric of the secular identity of the nation, then over here, if one law, such as introduction of uniform civil code, it sounds more like unconstitutional civil code over here. Because if you look at the constitution and the framework within which it is being introduced, and the manner in which it is being introduced, it does not fall in line with the constitutional ethos. Secondly, now we have seen all through this time period, there are debates that there is some form of a non-homogeneity. Now the Hindu Marriage Act of 1955, if you consider Section 5, Clause 4 of this Hindu Marriage Act, even over here, it gives a significant room for different forms of customs to prevail along with a uniform form of a marriage all across the country. In fact, Hindu Marriage Act was for the benefit of the Hindu society. And when we are talking about marriage amongst the Muslims or any community for that instance, so we must bear in mind, marriage has different meaning for different person. A woman or a man might consider marriage as a sacrosanct, as a sacred ceremony, investiture ceremony, or as a sacred institution, which might have a religious significance. And if that person wants to live this particular institution as a religious matter of fact, enjoying Article 25, right, freedom of professing that religion, then how can a state stop that particular individual from practicing and living in that particular religious life? It's not about Hindu versus Muslim. It's not about pitting one religion against the other. It is about drawing a balance between state and society, giving the right space to religion where it is required. And even with respect to family law, over here, the legal provisions, the penal code are all active. In fact, when he said about Article 498A with respect to domestic violence, CRPC Section 125, CRPC Section 127, they are still applicable. In fact, in the Daniel Latifi case, the Supreme Court lightly interpreted the Muslim Women Protection Act 1986 in liberal light. It's not about communalizing the issue. We need to understand, although our head is safe over the head, but we also have to take care what is inside this head. Are we trying to simply radicalize and is Hinduism into bringing out swords and trying to imitate the West? No, we can teach West what is non-violence, how to coexist together, what peace is. हमने इस दुनिया को हिंसा नहीं अहिंसा दी है. We gave this world Buddha. We gave this world Gandhi. We gave this world how to live
that's a different
in a
point
plural
altogether.
form of manner. So
Thank
over
you.
here,
Sai, lots of panelists have talked about the secularism and the basic structure of the constitution. Right. Well, India, I think, has 6 classical languages. And there is no word for secularism in any of the India's classical language because concept itself was absent throughout the civilizational history of India. But still, India was the most diverse, most tolerant, most plural society without the concept of secularism. So how do you respond to this idea that we have to have a uniform civil code because of secularism? Is there any other rationale behind it? Or do you really want to go back to the old system where different caste and communities can follow their own tradition like the opponents of the UCCC are talking about?
So let me start first of all by wholeheartedly endorsing the opening remarks of my dear friend Anand Ranganathan in letter and spirit. Second, I think it's important to understand that we are beating around the actual issue here under the pretext of uniformity. Which community in this country has a problem with equal treatment is the specific question that you must ask. What are the issues and what are the areas? 1, on the question of polygamous marriages or monogamous marriages. 2, on the question of succession. 3, on the question of maintenance and any other issue such as child marriage or forced circumcision, so to speak. Okay, these are the issues. If these are the issues, which is the group or the community under question which has a problem with this? So when people start using my opening remarks as a way of getting out of this debate, I might as well bring the issue back to the center of the table and say, sorry, the issue in question is Muslim exceptionalism. I don't wish to beat around the bush. And if that is the issue, it makes very little sense for certain panelists to hide behind other communities in my position or Vishnu's position to say, no, look at them, since they have not committed, why should we commit? And the argument that is being presented is, well, Hindus are not open to uniformity. Let's see if you're okay with interference with your personal laws. Our personal laws have already been interfered with since 1955. We were never consulted with this. The majority community was never asked any kind of questions. Today, the Supreme Court says that the new law, apparently, according to the Supreme Court, is before you pass a legislation, you're supposed to have a discussion with the community. That too with respect to farmers and farm laws, where we afforded this kind of an opportunity. If that is not the case, you're actually speaking with a victim majority here, which is already suffering the consequences of Nehru's forcible introduction of the Hindu Code in the 1950s. So, I don't think anybody has the moral authority to pontificate to Hindus with respect to state intervention. If there is a community in this country that has been constantly interfered with by the state, regardless of who's in power, it is the Hindu community. That is a fact. Second, look, here's the important issue. You want to address these issues. I think whichever government is interested in discussing Uniform Civil Code must actually drop the discussion on the Uniform Civil Code and must grow a spine to discuss the issue of Muslim exceptionalism as opposed to sending chadars to Ajmer. Okay? That is something for the government to do. 3, the next question will be, well, is this consistent with India's commitment to secularism? Sorry, India is equally committed to the question of human rights, and India is equally committed to the question of gender justice and social justice. It is possible for this country to take a position against polygamous marriages, child marriages, forced circumcision, and even with respect to succession, without having to resort to Uniform Civil Code. Because the moment you start talking about Uniform Civil Code, their argument is going to be, it's unenforceable, it needs to be done, this needs to be done, that needs to be done. Sorry, I don't need to go the path of Uniform Civil Code to enforce any of these aspects. The state has the power to interfere with any kind of social injustice. That is the precise reason that Article 17 was introduced in the Constitution for what? To abolish untouchability. Then should the state have actually indulged all those people who opposed this particular issue and kept its hands holding with respect to abolition of untouchability? When Article 25(2)(b) was introduced with respect to the entry of former untouchables into temples, the state has taken a particular decision, and that was a Hindu-specific intervention, that was a community-specific intervention. Did secularism come in the way of this kind of intervention because it's a Hindu community? No, it did not. So if the Constitution has shown the way that the Indian state reserves the power, constitutionally speaking, to interfere with a single community, provided there are legitimate grounds to do so, why should we resort to Uniform Civil Code to interfere with Muslim exceptionalism on these specific areas? Let's have a discussion on this. So now Uniform Civil Code is no more the discussion. Let me see what their position is on Muslim exceptionalism.
You want to say something? Yes.
Yes, thank you. You know, my good friend Lokesh Abhinav started off that he is a lawyer. He is a lawyer, he is a very dear friend. In audience में इनके clients अगर बैठे होंगे वो अगले दिन कल जज से कहेंगे मैं लॉर्ड मैं अकेले लड़ लूँगा केस. मुझे क्या कह रहे हैं ये? कह रहे हैं we gave the world Gandhi. I hope you meant Mahatma Gandhi, not Rahul Gandhi. No. And he is proud of the fact. He is talking about, let me quote Mahatma Gandhi. क्योंकि जब तक facts नहीं देंगे तब तक legally इसका क्या चलता रहेगा? Let me quote. This is what Mahatma Gandhi said. Hindus should not harbor anger in their hearts against Muslims, even if the latter wanted to destroy them. Even if the Muslims want to kill us all, we should face death bravely. And if they establish their rule after killing all Hindus, we would be ushering in a new world by sacrificing our lives, unquote.
And today is the...
don't interrupt.
Wait a minute. First of all,
Anand, let's just talk about UCC, not Gandhi. We can have a different panel on Gandhi.
Of course. No, I just... Right? Lokesh, this is unfair. This is like a real TV debate. Yaar, abhi interrupt mat karo. Give me 30 seconds. और my brother Vishnu ने जो बात करी है 494 की, I just want to ask him कि does he want Muslims to not practice polygamy or does he want Hindus to practice polygamy? मतलब discrimination किसके against हो रही है?
That's a very direct question. You have to give an answer.
But मैं एक चीज बताना चाहता हूँ क्योंकि लोग ये समझ नहीं पाए मैं क्या कहना चाह रहा हूँ. When a Muslim says, I am against discrimination, he is against discrimination practiced in all other religions except Islam. When a Hindu says, like I'm saying, I'm civilizationally a Hindu. I might be a Darwinian atheist, but I'm civilized. All of us are.
No, you are a Nastik who go to Mahakaleshwar Mandir in
With
Ujjain.
pride, with pride. और रहमानी साहब के ग्रैंडफादर जैन थे, तभी इनको भी. It's a fact. आपने खुद एडमिट किया है. हाँ. नहीं नहीं, मैं तो फैक्ट्स बता रहा हूँ.
Okay, Anand, let's.
तभी इन्होंने कहा माय ब्रदर इज विष्णु जैन. दोनों के ग्रैंडफादर जैन हैं.
To add something.
मैं ये बताना चाह रहा हूँ, देखिए मैं हिंदू हूँ, ये अब मुस्लिम है ये. सो फैक्ट ऑफ द मैटर इज दैट अ हिंदू वांट्स डिस्क्रिमिनेशन टू बी रिमूव फ्रॉम एवरीवेयर. दिस इज द डिफरेंस. प्लीज रिमेंबर, एज रहमानी साहब, ही कैन मैरी अ चाइल्ड. आप बुरा मत मानिएगा, मैं आपको लीगल पोजीशन बता रहा हूँ आपकी, ठीक है. ही कैन मैरी 4 wives. It is another matter if 4 women would like to marry him, but that's another matter. Third issue, खुदा ना खास्ता अगर ये अल्लाह को प्यारे हो गए, so the daughter will get half the inheritance as his son. And ये discrimination यहाँ हुआ. मेरा discrimination देखिए, I can have a Hindu undivided family and take benefit of tax. Take tax benefit. That is available to Jains, Hindus and Sikhs, but not Muslims.
I think
I'm against that.
Sarah,
we need to avoid
Why
being
should
personal
discrimination-
here about
Anand
any
ji,
co-panelists.
let's not
I
name
would
anyone
request
by name.
Anand ji not to get personal here, because here the topic is
Yes.
UCC.
You speak,
So
Sarah.
no,
साहब,
one
ऐसा है,
second.
Sarah,
जब
speak,
सैया हो कोतवाल तो डर काहे का? आनंद साहब, भाई पता है कि भाई यहाँ से
जी,
लेके
अच्छा, मैं
Lokesh
एक
ji,
चीज
I'm
ऐड
not-
कर रही हूँ. One
Sorry,
second.
sorry.
Anand ji,
I'm not
let me
interrupting
finish. We
anyone
heard
in between,
everybody
neither you nor
talking.
him.
So let me
I'm
talk
repeatedly
now.
asking him not to take people's name.
This is
Yeah.
unfair.
I'm repeatedly
Actually,
asking him
मैं-
not to take anyone.
मैं आनंद
You cannot
रंगारात
make an- you cannot
मैं-
make an allegation
मैं
like this.
आनंद जी की बहुत इज्जत करता हूँ. पढ़े लिखे आदमी लगते
भी
हैं
आपकी
चेहरे
इज्जत
से,
करता हूँ.
वेस्टर्नाइज ड्रेस पहने हैं, मॉडर्न से लगते हैं, और सुना है
आनंद
साइंटिस्ट
जी,
भी हैं,
रहमानी जी,
लेकिन
let's not get
इनको
into
लेबोरेटरी
football
से
में-
कम स्टूडियो में ज्यादा देखा है.
कुछ गलत
अगर
काम मैंने-
बदतमीजी में करने पे आऊं
आनंद
तो
जी,
थोड़ी सी मुझे
रहमानी
भी
जी-
आती है.
No,
इन्हीं से
one
सीखिए.
second.
Sarah जी,
बहुत
please
इनसे
continue.
सीखिए
Sarah,
I
अगर
can't
पर्सनल
talk
होना
with
चाहो.
so much of cackle here. So I'm just
I-
saying one thing. We are not here to insult co-panelists. Please,
Yes.
let's
मेरा
all
सारा topic-
maintain a decorum here. And one second,
Anand
here
ji, let's not take-
there
please
are a
moderate.
lot of
Please
things.
moderate.
Let's not belittle any panelist
Please
because
moderate.
your respect is not going up by belittling another co-panelist.
see,
So
this
let's
is
get
the
back to the
Sarah ji,
topic.
yeah, you-
Bill-
So
Bill-
here, when we are talking about secularism, here
This is
it
the
is very
problem.
clearly
No, Sarah, this is not your
mentioned
time.
in the 42nd Amendment, right? Because the Constitution of India is a
Excuse me,
living
yaar.
document. It is not a dead document. It's a living document. It is forever evolving, right? So when the makers of the Constitution decided that they will amend and bring in that word secular because they felt that India is onto a path where state and religion should be separate. Here, there is no particular priority, even if the Hindu community is in a majority, but there would be no preference. So I think this is very progressive. Now coming back to UCC, we need to look at it in a pragmatic manner, in a detached manner, and understand that the document is under the directive state, of state policy, and let the draft come out. And then we need to look at it in a detached way, and it needs to be addressed in a phased manner, in an informed manner, taking the stakeholders into account, because once you trust something, for example, and then you need to revoke it. We saw what happened during the farmers' protest, during the farming, when the farming community went hammer and tongs against the bill that was passed. So we don't want a revocation. We want a very uniformed and a very principled stand on it, taking the accountability of all the stakeholders. That's what I want to say.
विष्णु जैन जी
मेरे टाइम का क्या हुआ? मेरा टाइम ले लिया इन्होंने.
no personal remarks.
कोई personal नहीं था.
Please don't take anyone's name.
कोई personal
I'll come
नहीं
back
था,
to
but
you
my-
again. विष्णु जैन.
मेरे भाई यहाँ पे लोकेश भाई ने और सायरा बहन ने सेकुलर की बात कही और कहा 42nd अमेंडमेंट में सेकुलर वर्ड ऐड हुआ. मैं उस डिबेट में नहीं जाना चाहता हूँ, पर मैं इतना पूछना चाहता हूँ बड़ी लॉजिकली आज इन सारे लोगों से जो यहाँ पे बैठे हैं, और इसको एक पर्सपेक्टिव में रखना चाहता हूँ कि देखिए हमारे संविधान के साथ कितना बड़ा खिलवाड़ हुआ है. और देखिए आज अगर सपोज करिए, मैं अपनी बात को एक उदाहरण से समझाना चाहता हूँ. आई वॉन्ट टू एक्सप्लेन इट बाय एन एग्जाम्पल. आज सपोज करिए हम सब लोग यहाँ पे एक शपथ लें, एक ओथ लें. ऐसा किसी भी लीगल हिस्ट्री में, वर्ल्ड की लीगल हिस्ट्री में, फॉरगेट अबाउट इंडियन लीगल हिस्ट्री, वर्ल्ड की लीगल हिस्ट्री में ऐसा नहीं हुआ है कि किसी शपथ को, किसी ओथ को बैकडेट में बदला गया हो. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, social, secular, democratic republic. तो ये जो दो वर्ड आए, सेकुलर और सोशलिस्ट, जैसे भी मेरी बहन सायरा ने कहा कि ये 42nd अमेंडमेंट से 1976 में आए, और ये संविधान की शपथ कब ली गई थी? On 26 November 1949. Just a minute. Let me put in perspective. तो सेकुलर नहीं, ये जितना यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड का आर्ग्यूमेंट सेकुलर पे बिल्ड कर रहे हैं, मैं तो सबसे पहली बात आनंद रंगनाथन को बधाई देना चाहता हूं कि आज वीर सावरकर की पुण्यतिथि पे महात्मा गांधी का क्या रोल रहा है, उन्होंने उसको जस्टिफाई कर दिया. पर मैं दूसरी बात सेकुलर के आर्गुमेंट को डिस्ट्रॉय करना चाहता हूं. मैं इनसे पूछना चाहता हूं कि सेकुलर वर्ड की डेफिनेशन क्या है?
नहीं विष्णु जी, सेकुलरिज्म पे डिबेट नहीं है,
सुनिए,
यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड पे यूनिफॉर्म.
बता दें कि गोडसे के दौर में अभी भी हम गांधी के साथ हैं.
कांट बी अ फाउंड. माय ओनली पॉइंट इज दिस.
गोडसे के दौर में गांधी के साथ हूं.
Just listen to what I'm saying.
No
I'm
debate
saying
on secularism.
Can't be a reason to develop uniform.
We need a different panel for discussing secularism.
No, I'm only saying.
Let me ask a different question.
Try to understand my point.
Let me reorient the debate. A very
Should the government control mosques like it controls temples? ये secularism है आपका?
Anand ji, there is a very fundamental question here, and that question is the conflict between modernity and the tradition. The rise of nation states in the last 200 years have also created the requirement, this need for creating uniformity, uniform laws, because societies are much more integrated than they were 200 years back. But there's also the question of survival of the old traditions, people right to choose their culture, their traditions, and different kinds of things. So why is there an opposition from one side to the tradition and from the other side to the modernity, and how we can resolve it? Shahjad.
May I, with your permission, Anand? Just 20 seconds and then the remaining time can be given to Anand.
You're my छोटा भाई, Sara ji is my elder sister. कुछ भी.
You got the age right. ऐसा है कि देखिए, all of this argument one agrees with. We have to also see our traditions, etc. Nobody is imposing anything on anybody. Uniformity doesn't mean that you will lose what is essential to your faith or your practice or your beliefs or your traditions. But if those particular aspects are incompatible with what we believe constitutes a society that is governed by rule of law and constitution, then it must be moderated like it was done for the Hindus 1955. All we are saying is this, that look, I am very happy when a Sabrimala verdict comes out. But my party opposes the triple talaq verdict from Supreme Court. ये hypocrisy नहीं चलेगी. ये hypocrisy नहीं चलेगी. The Uniform Civil Code is the biggest tool to ensure gender empowerment and women's rights. But it is unfortunate that today those who say ladki hu, lad sakti hu, or some of its versions are today at the forefront of, 1 second sir, I have not even taken your name, are at the forefront of sacrificing women's rights at the altar of vote bank politics. That is the fundamental problem, and I have only one question to ask. Lokesh, I know because he and I have appeared on television debates. Lokesh, did you support the Sabrimala verdict of the Supreme Court? Did he? Did he? He did support it. He said it is absolutely right. But Lokesh, tell me, then do you say that the Prime Minister who overturned the Supreme Court verdict on Shah Banu is wrong? Today I ask you with all your integrity to answer that question.
I'll answer this question. See, first of all, when we talk about what happened in the Shah Banu
Answer the question.
So I'm answering the question. What do you think I'm doing? So when you are talking about the 1985 Shah Banu case and the subsequent Muslim Act that was introduced in the parliament, over here we have seen that over a period of time this Muslim Women Act has strengthened women's right even more. Because I'll tell you why.
देखिए secularism.
Allow me to answer.
Secularism 1.5.
As per the Muslim Women Act 1986, now the Muslim woman is entitled to maintenance during the period of iddat itself, that is 90 days. And the Supreme Court has rightly pointed out that section 127 involves, and the man has to give him lakhs of rupees, whatever has to be the maintenance for the rest of her life during the iddat period.
No, so why not beyond iddat? That's the question here. That's the question of Uniform Civil Code. But why? Yeah. Why only certain period for one section of the community and why lifetime?
No,
maintenance?
this is one second.
Wait a
Lokesh,
minute, now
just
it's
one-
my turn. The
Yeah,
question
yeah,
is asked.
Shahjad,
The
Shahjad,
question
let
is
me
asked.
finish. Angry.
Wait a minute.
Shahjad.
Just one second. Just
Wait a
5
minute.
seconds.
Wait a
5
minute.
seconds. 5
See,
seconds.
we are having the Special
seconds.
Marriage Act 1954. As per the Special Marriage Act, it is the Uniform Civil Code in the country. A person belonging to any religion, I mean, it's free for all. Any person belonging to any
No,
religion
Lokesh, you are
can
not
get the
answering the
marriage
question.
registered
You are not
under the
answering the
Special
question.
Marriage Act and have all the benefits of divorce succession in that Special Marriage
Shahjad
Act.
asked a very clear question.
One
You are
second.
not answering.
One second. One second. And
me
Anand,
come to
Anand,
Rahmani ji.
Anand, I don't think Anand should be kept out of a debate for so long, and I hand it over to Anand. But now in front of you, you are seeing the difference between the mindset of a Jay Sai Deepak and a Vishnu Jain on one side, who may have a particular point of view, and a Lokesh Jindal and a Tasleem Rahmani
Because
on
you
the
know,
other side.
COVID
This
times
has
it
been
gave rise to
completely
WhatsApp
exposed in front of
University, and people who gain knowledge from WhatsApp University
Abhinav,
without
please.
knowing the conceptual
Anand,
basis of it come
You-
out to
you
have
are the-
rhetorics.
Anand, are you the
I
professor
mean,
of
rhetorics
WhatsApp
appeal to
University?
all of you, but when we talk about the conceptual
If
basis,
you believe
let's have a
JNU
debate
is
over
WhatsApp
it.
University. No, but
We cannot have a debate on the conceptual basis when you're taking different stands on different communities.
I am not taking
Abhinav,
different stand. The
you are.
point is,
Lokesh.
the point is,
Anand,
listen,
Anand,
listen,
Anand,
wait a minute.
Anand,
keep it
you
very
then
simple.
Rahmani.
No,
I
you
keep
do
it-
one thing, you
I-
come here now in the participating panel.
Anand, you and then Rahmani.
I
You
keep it
cannot,
very
No,
simple.
you do one
target the
thing.
moderator.
You-
We cannot target the
I'm
moderator.
asking everyone the question.
No,
and
you
do
are
not wish
you
to
are
answer.
extremist moderator, sir.
He is doing his work. Please
Extremist
let him do his
moderator,
work.
new terminology.
Towards
Thank
the
you.
rightist, you are extreme right. Na?
अब ये विक्टिम कार्ड निकाल लिया इन्होंने पहले डेबिट कार्ड क्रेडिट कार्ड let me keep it very simple. You see, people accuse me because they fear fact समझना सबको वो लगता है. मैंने डिस्क्रिमिनेशन की बात करी. मैं कह रहा हूँ कि हिंदू अनडिवाइडेड फैमिली को टैक्स बेनिफिट्स मिलते हैं, ये डिस्क्रिमिनेशन है, ये हटना चाहिए. ये किसी ने सुना नहीं. जो मैंने मुस्लिम का डिस्क्रिमिनेशन हो रहा है वो सुना और उस पर चढ़ गए कि हाय हाय क्या बोल दिया. आई आस्क अ वेरी सिंपल क्वेश्चन टू माई फ्रेंड लोकेश. आर यू फॉर और आर यू अगेंस्ट चाइल्ड मैरिज? येस और नो?
I am against child marriage.
बस बात खत्म हो गई.
But please,
But,
please, let
what
me
is
complete.
but?
Let me complete.
बट
Let me complete. Let me complete. Let me
बट
complete.
आ गया ना.
Do you know
ये
Age
but
of
है.
Consent Act
ये
1891?
but है.
Do you know Sarda Bill? It
ये-
took more than 150 years for our reformers so as to do away with the evil of child marriage.
तो आप
When
डेढ़
I'm
साल
talking
साल
about,
और
no,
लगाएंगे आप
listen,
क्या?
listen, listen.
So you
What
want-
I'm saying
No,
that
is
this
it your case
evil
that the
of-
Muslim community of India is 150 years
No,
behind?
what I say is when child marriage. So what I say is over here, if at all reforms are to be carried out, there is an important need for civil society to act. Why aren't you creating necessary and sufficient conditions for Muslim civil society?
What are the
itself
necessary
act?
conditions to
What are
stop
the
child
necessary
marriage?
conditions? Yes.
What are the necessary conditions to stop
So
child
let
marriage?
let
Please
it
elaborate.
be.
Acha,
Listen.
let's come to Rahmani ji because you please answer this question.
As an
first.
Indian Muslim, I also want to know what are the necessary conditions to
Law
stop child
Commission
marriage.
in 2018 recommended that the Nikah Nama must outrightly condemn polygamy and all such practices which are derogatory to women and all such social evils. That's the constructive way.
But
Over
that
here
is
I'm-
not enforceable under any
Rahmani
circumstances.
ji-
What I'm saying is
That is not
the word of
enforceable.
Law
एक मिनट
Commission.
रुकिए. Yes, the point.
In
अरे मुझसे तो
2018.
पूछ लीजिए, आप मेरे बारे में बात
No, hold
किए
on,
जा
just a
रहे हैं.
second. Here's the
मेरे
point.
बारे में मुझसे भी कुछ
रहमानी
पूछ
जी,
लीजिए.
रहमानी
आप
जी,
मुझसे कुछ पूछना नहीं चाहते.
I'm coming to you.
मुझे बीच में बिठा के और सब लोग मुझे एक पैट बना के फाइटिंग कर रहे हैं. आप अपनी राजनीति साध रहे हैं, मुझे बिठा के बीच में.
विक्टिम कार्ड नंबर 2.
अच्छा
अभी
रहमानी
आदत
जी
है.
रहमानी जी एक मेरा सवाल सुन लीजिए. ये जो बार बार ये प्रश्न आ रहा है कि सोसाइटी को डिसाइड करना चाहिए, दूसरे लोग कह रहे हैं कि दूसरे कम्युनिटी के सेंस में डिसाइड नहीं किया जाता है, सरकार कर देती है. सो आपको ऐसा क्यों लगता है, या आपको नहीं, मतलब पर्सनली आपको नहीं, बाकी जो अपोज करते हैं, कि वाई डू द क्लरिक्स हैव द राइट टू इंटरप्रेट एवरीथिंग एंड सुप्रीम कोर्ट शुड नॉट?
एग्जैक्टली. देखिए, अभी जो इन्होंने शहजाद ने बहुत सी बातें की थी, एक एक करके मैं उनका जवाब दे सकता हूँ, मुझसे डिबेट डिरेल होगी. जब हमारे पास आर्गूमेंट नहीं होता तो हम पर्सनल हो जाते हैं. हमारे पास आर्गूमेंट होना चाहिए. जो आपका सवाल है, एग्जैक्टली सवाल का जवाब इसका मिलना चाहिए. क्लर्जी क्लास किसी भी धर्म में हो, चाहे वो हिंदुओं में हो, मुसलमानों में हो, सिखों में, ईसाइयों में हो, वो अकेले ठेकेदार किसी कम्युनिटी की नहीं हो सकती. ये एक बड़ा मसला है जिसकी वजह से सारी कम्युनिटीज़ के अंदर इस किस्म के सवालात पैदा होते हैं जिस पे हमको डिबेट करनी पड़ रही है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, चाइल्ड मैरिज पर इतनी ज़्यादा बात हम लोगों ने की. मुस्लिम कम्युनिटी एज सच डू नॉट सपोर्ट टू द चाइल्ड मैरिज एट ऑल.
Then that's the end of the matter.
मौजूद है
That's the end
और
of
हम
the
उस पर
matter.
अमल करते हैं. कोई क्लर्जी अगर कहीं से खड़े होकर कह रहा है, उसको कम्युनिटी एक्सेप्ट नहीं कर रही है. ट्रिपल तलाक सुप्रीम कोर्ट ऑफ इंडिया ने जब ये वर्डिक्ट दिया कि इंस्टेंट ट्रिपल तलाक इज नल एंड वाइड, मुस्लिम कम्युनिटी ने ओपन हार्टेडली उसे कबूल किया है और मैं कबूल करता हूं, हमें एंडोर्स करते हैं। नहीं, अभी मेरी बात पूरी होने दीजिए। ये जो हमको लेके विक्टिम कार्ड खेला जाता है, मुस्लिम कम्युनिटी को लेके विक्टिम कार्ड भारतीय जनता पार्टी के लोग सत्ता में लेके उसको यूज करना चाहते हैं। किसको ये फिक्र है कि कबीले का क्या हुआ? किसको ये फिक्र है कि कबीले का क्या हुआ? सब इस पे लड़ रहे हैं कि सरदार कौन है। तो आप अपनी सरदारी बचाने के लिए हिंदू और मुसलमानों को बीच में लाके इस किस्म की डिबेट पब्लिक में छेड़ते हैं और पार्लियामेंट में आप नहीं छेड़ते, जो इसका एक्चुअल फोरम है, जहां पर आपको इस पे बहस और डिबेट करनी चाहिए, वहां आप कभी बात नहीं करेंगे। वहां आप गाय रक्षा की बात आप वहां नहीं करेंगे, आप पॉपुलेशन कंट्रोल की बात वहां नहीं करेंगे, आप यूसीसी की बात पार्लियामेंट में नहीं करेंगे, आप टेलीविजन के स्टूडियो में करेंगे, पब्लिक के बीच करेंगे, भ्रमित करेंगे लोगों को। गोवा में जिसका आप जिक्र कर रहे हैं, वहां तो पोलीगैमी की इजाजत हिंदू भाइयों को है और मुसलमानों को नहीं है। आप क्या कहना चाहते हैं उसके बाद? वो पोर्टुगीज एक्ट है। अब बताइए।
थैंक यू। नहीं, देखिए भाई, नॉर्मली मुझे 30 सेकंड्स लगते हैं या 10 सेकंड्स लगेंगे। रहमानी साहब, ट्रिपल तलाक का जो कुरान में नहीं है उसमें इनको कोई ऑब्जेक्शन नहीं है अगर सुप्रीम कोर्ट हटा दे। सिंपल सवाल पूछता हूं, अब वर यू फॉर और वर यू अगेंस्ट द सुप्रीम कोर्ट शाह बानो जजमेंट? यस और नो? नो। देयर वी गो। इट इज सो इजी टू एक्सपोज हिम। जो मैंने अभी इनसे पूछा, रहमानी साहब देखिए गलत है, मैंने अभी इनसे पूछा कि इफ खुदा ना खास्ता अगर आप अल्लाह को, हम सबको जाना है एक दिन, बुरा ना मानिए,
नो पर्सनल रिमार्क्स।
आई एम जस्ट सेइंग द इनहेरिटेंस, आर यू फॉर द इनहेरिटेंस दैट अ डॉटर शुड गेट हाफ द इनहेरिटेंस एज द सन? ही सेड यस। डिड यू नॉट से यस? 1/3. So you are for unequal inheritance being given?
It is the prescribed law.
By whom?
देखिए, आप डिबेट को पर्सपेक्टिव में लाइए। इंडियन के आप लोग अगर बगैर पढ़े आप एक साइंटिस्ट को पॉलिटिशियन बनना चाहते हैं तो आपकी मर्जी है। आप जरूर
बगैर पढ़े मत कहिए, आपसे ज्यादा कुरान मैंने पढ़ी है।
नहीं पढ़ा है आपने। नहीं, अगर ये बात है तो चेंज कीजिए। आप नहीं, वो भी दिख रहा है। आप मुझे
जाकिर नायक मेरे गुरु हैं, प्लीज।
बाल लिया इन्होंने, दिखाई दे रहा है कि जाकिर नायक की मेंटालिटी लेके यहां पर आनंद जी बैठे और बहुत सारे लोग बैठे हैं। तो इसका मतलब ये है कि सारे देश को रेडिकलाइज हो जाना चाहिए। आप हिंदुत्व जैसे सनातन संस्कृति को रेडिकलाइज करने के लिए यहां पर बैठे, और अगर इन सब लड़कों को, इन बच्चों को भ्रमित करना चाहते हैं, आपकी मर्जी। मैं देश का सोचना चाहता हूं, देश का फ्यूचर।
ठीक है रहमानी जी। Sai Deepak, let me come to you. When I ask some questions, I will be accused of being extreme right-wing. Right. But I think you know that in this country, in this time and age, apparently when you speak and when you ask for the objective answers, you are a rightist and you are an extremist. But that's fine with me. Sai, Anand did not answer that question. The conflict between modernity and the tradition. And what can be the way forward?
See, first of all, on the 3 specific issues that I spelled out, this much is clear that someone has said that they're okay with their daughters getting 1/3 the share of the succession. On child marriage, we are being told that the bulk of the Muslim community is opposing it, in which case it should not have a problem with that being brought by way of a law through codification. So that admission must be taken. Now, with respect to this conflict between modernity and tradition certainly has its space. And I certainly stand by that particular position. However, the state equally has a call to take. It has the right to take the decision with respect to which of these practices can or cannot survive in the current day and age. That right remains with the state. Most importantly, what is the realm in which the state wants to operate here? Is it saying that we will change the way you read the kalma? Is it saying that notwithstanding the fact there is a law with respect to decibel levels and the number of times you can actually shout on the rooftops, nobody is following it, right? The state is only asking for intervention with respect to 3 sensitive areas: gender justice, pedophilia, that's what I would call it, and 3 is with respect to succession. If the state does not have the right to take a decision with respect to pedophilia, which is being justified in the name of a particular document, what is it that the state is useful for? And what would you call such a state? I would call such a state a soft state because it constantly buckles and bends the moment somebody comes out on the street. So as much as I hold certain groups for holding back their own communities, with or without the consent of the community, let the community have the discussion on that. But the state is also buckling under pressure. Unfortunately, on this particular issue, I would have to agree with someone who I thought I would never agree with, which is Mr. Rahmani, which is that this discussion must certainly happen in the parliament. But this much is clear, that even in the so-called elite group, they are trying to look for justifications and context to protect child marriage. We've just seen that. And we are also looking at justifications with respect to why women must be treated not at par with men on the issue of succession. If this is what is to be expected from this elite panel, what discussion are we supposed to be having with the larger masses from that particular community? Discuss.
Shahjab, this entire allegation of being a soft state, and who should have the right to interpret tradition?
The state that does away with Article 370 can hardly be characterized as a soft state. I think that if we have done away with Article 370 in due course of time, whatever are the committed positions of the party, and because the party is the political vehicle in which the instrument of the state is operating, I think it can be taken without any kind of doubt that this party and this government is committed to whatever it has written in the manifesto. Yes, of course, it's a democracy. A democracy means that you bear with all kinds of elements, you take them along, you give them an opportunity, and if they still are unwilling, then you do what you have to do. And I think that was amply clear in Article 370's case.
Including farm laws, I agree.
No, including farm laws. No, I completely agree. Jay Sai Deepak, that's the difference between being an armchair critic and somebody who has to run a country of 140 crore people. I'm sorry to say, you're my friend, but that's the difference between...
seconds,
No,
Shahzad
Anand, just 1 second. It's easy to...
Anand, you
It's
cannot
easy to
keep
be a
taking things.
10
panelist.
seconds.
1 second. Now, both of you guys can't corner me.
No, it is.
I am no
discussion
Taslim
between-
Rahmani.
पर मैं सिर्फ एक बात कहना चाहूंगा कि as Shahzad said correctly, whatever is written in the constitution, sooner or later has to be, listened to, has to be, whatever implemented. He talked about uniform civil code. अब मैं हर एक की हिपोक्रेसी बताना चाहता हूँ. बीजेपी की हिपोक्रेसी डायरेक्टिव प्रिंसिपल्स में ये भी लिखा है कि you must not allow cow slaughter. There are enough BJP ruled states that allow cow slaughter. वहां पे ये क्यों नहीं इंप्लीमेंट कर रहे हैं डायरेक्टिव प्रिंसिपल? मेघालय में, गोवा में,
दिल्ली में और मेघालय में भी हमारी सरकार बना दो, जैसे ही मिलता है मौका वहां पे भी लगा देंगे.
गोवा,
आनंद नाउ
गोवा.
अरे आनंद,
Goa.
अरे आनंद, now give me all the states in one go. What we will do is that we will have a different discussion on this also.
Please, Anand,
But
don't be an armchair critic.
Now, देखिए, पर एक चीज अच्छी है कि जयसाई दीपक और आनंद रंगनाथन की एक्सपेक्टेशंस केवल मुझसे है, कांग्रेस और लेफ्ट से तो कोई एक्सपेक्टेशन नहीं. तो ये बात भी ठीक है, लोकतंत्र में ये होता है.
Vishnu
The last point I want to make is that, and settling this last point of the debate is that, look, the hypocrisy should end there, that those who are the critics of UCC, those who say that this is some sort of a Hindutva project, are those who contest on the ticket of a party which till date has not condemned the kind of genocide of the Uyghur Muslims that we see taking place in the name of a philosophy that they continue to espouse in their own political party even today, and she's sitting on my right. She has contested on the ticket of CPM. It is not personal. It is a position. They have exposed my party's position. I am entitled to expose
here
yours.
I am personally against deriding or making any personal attack. My friend, my elder brother, Mr. Ranganathan, he's about 8-9 years older, but every TV show, he says I'm his elder sister. So again, I'm saying he's good about 8-9 years, mental, yeah. So again, I'm saying he's 8-9 years older than me, but it likes to please his male ego. So in every TV show, he calls me his elder sister. So again, I'm saying, please, don't be so sexist. Don't assume just because a lady is married, she's older than you. Okay, now coming back, here I'm again saying that the British found the UCC very complex in 1835. So they never even tweaked the religious laws.
British found
Here,
giving us
once
freedom very
again,
complex, madam.
let me
The British
finish.
found giving us
Let me
freedom
finish.
complex. So
Let
what?
me finish. So the British are very clear. They will only tweak the codification as far as crimes is written, as far as evidence is concerned, as far as contracts is concerned, but they never tweak the religious laws of any religion. And my friends here, who are from the majority community, have more problems with their personal laws being altered than the Muslim community or any other minority community. As my panelist said, that he is a very proud Hindu, but he has big problem with UCC. Didn't you say that, sir? So again, the topic comes that let us not be in such a hurry, because what happens is when you thrust down a law without proper consultation, as we saw in the farm laws, it had to be revoked. So let it be something that can be debated, discussed. Let the whole draft come about. Let the stakeholders be asked, and then we will see what needs to be done.
I would see that as a veiled threat being issued to the Indian government that if you come out to the UCC, we'll come out to this on the streets like the farm laws. Second, all I would say is, I am grateful to Arth for giving me an opportunity to see Shehzad ji, Taslim ji, and Saira ji fight amongst themselves. Thank you.
Okay, last
You
closing.
are always happy seeing the people fighting. So you love fighting.
Vishnu Janji, last remarks, closing remarks.
मैं बस लास्ट में इतना ही कहना चाहता हूँ इस पूरी डिस्कशन और डिबेट के बाद, जो जे साई दीपक जी ने कहा, आनंद जी ने कहा, हम सब लोग यहाँ पे एक ऐसे कानून के लिए हैं जो सबके हित में हो और किसी का नुकसान ना पहुँचाए। और सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट बात, मैं दोबारा इस बात को रिपीट करना चाहता हूँ एज अ प्राउड हिंदू, एज अ सनातनी, कि मैं यहाँ पे किसी का घर ठीक करने के लिए नहीं बैठा हूँ। मुझे अपने आर्य सनातन वैदिक हिंदू धर्म को अजर और अमर रखना है, और उसके लिए जो डिफिकल्टीज आएंगी उसको मैं ठीक करूंगा एज अ लॉयर।
We can take an audience question. The times is up, but we can take audience question. Anyone in the one audience question? No? Okay, so let me ask audience a question. How many of you are in the favor of one nation, one law? And how many of you are against it? Oh, there are people, but an absolute minority. Okay, but thank you. Thank you, panelists, for being such a wonderful discussant. And thank you, audience, for being so wonderful. It is a very strong debate. It's a very long, winding debate. I don't think we can end it in just one panel, but looking to see you forward. Thank you, and thank you, Jay.